live on YouTube, and listen back on Spotify. This is the World of Football podcast.
Good evening and welcome back to the World of Football podcast, listening live on YouTube and watching back, or whatever you call it. Other way around, isn't it, on Spotify? God, I've completely butchered that in, 30 seconds already. So, topics for tonight. Got the championship review now. That absolute shambles of a season is finally over. We're going to be touching on the Trent Alexander-Arnold situation as well, and calling some people out, talking about people dealing with club legends, etc. when they leave the clubs. And God help us all, Harry Kane has won a trophy. Anyway, let's get on with it. Reece, how you doing, bud?
I'm a lot better than I was yesterday, put it that way. But it's good to be back on here, so it's good to see you, boys.
Yeah, happy days. Great to see you back, bud. And also, Julio, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. I'm numbered in a hotel room with crap Wi-Fi, so hopefully it doesn't cause too many technical difficulties for this evening.
Yeah, big up the Travelodge lads, and welcome into everyone who is joining us as well. As Russell says, hit the like button, folks. Not hard. Get it done.
We're going by surname basis. I'll take that then.
Absolutely. Leshy, Russell, Morgan, whatever you want to say to it, lads.
Sounds like a bad car form.
It does. Welcome in as well, Fatal Firestar. I hope you're having a good one.
Dan, did you seriously turn up to the chat just to remind me of Harry Kane? Fuck's sake. I'll be getting you in the group chat for that. Trust me, I'll be getting you, you cheeky bastard. But yes, more league medals than Steven Gerrard. Club-wise, as a footballer, it's hilarious.
I mean, especially after all these years as well, where Harry Kane literally... Anyway, we'll get onto all that nonsense later, but at the end of the day, lads, there's only one place to start. EFL Championship. The season is finally over. So, as the yearly tradition, let's get everyone's predictions nice and big on the screen. But let's just cut to the chase straight away. Julio, best predictions out of everyone this season, minus obviously Mr. Douglas Horn, who can't join us tonight with a nice score of 119. Myself, I had a stinker this year. I think that's 30 up from last year. Absolutely shocking. 142 points, and then Reece, 149. So, yeah, there's some absolute stinkers in there, as you can see. Minus 20s, Reece with a minus 21, 18s, 17s. Yeah.
I can comfortably
predict this year.
I can comfortably say I'm alright with that, because I don't watch the championship. I only watched like 2 games all season. Annoyingly, one of them was the Leeds game, that high-scoring game last month, and then I watched the Burnley-Sheffield United game, and that was it.
Oh, the ball fest.
Yeah. Although I did like the double from the midfielder, to be fair, so I'll rate that. When a midfielder gets a double, I'll praise some things. And if you are watching this, please, because we're not going to go back and... Actually, you know what, I'm going to have on the side. I was going to say, if you are watching live, give us updates on the Inter Milan versus Barcelona game, but I'm actually going to put up on my one of my other screens beside me, so I'll keep us tabs on the scoreline.
Yeah, we will be watching that. What a start. And all I want to appreciate, Reece shared this earlier, and this
it's
is
really cool.
Possibly one of the best pre-match graphics
I've ever
seen in my entire life.
That's from
That's
from the Inter Milan Twitter page, and it's really impressive. Like I'll give them credit. It's incredible. They have the same record as well this season: 6 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat each in the Champions League. But the bad thing is, though, all 3 remaining ties between Inter and Barcelona have all finished the exact same scoreline. 3-3. But Barcelona did set a record on Sunday. They are now the highest scoring team in a single calendar season, which broke Hansi Flick's goal record campaign of 159. They scored 160 goals.
That's insane.
But according to Mark Goldbridge, Hansi Flick was rejected by Bayern. He's not good enough. He He won them the sextuple, you blonde mong. And also, he turned them down because they didn't give him the contract he wanted. So he said, fine, I'm going to Barcelona instead. So, but yes, apparently he's not good enough.
I think we need to just add a quick segment about Hansi Flick after this championship review because we haven't spoken enough about him. And I know
He's
Reece has
incredible.
opinions. I've got my own things I want to say about Hansi Flick. So I think after we cover
He's
covering
perfect.
one of the best leagues in the world here and discussing where we all went wrong and our laughable predictions, we need to discuss Flick, I think, afterwards.
100% we'll be bringing it in, definitely.
He's genuinely incredible. He plays the best. He plays the best club football, in my opinion. Like, when it comes to club football, he plays the perfect formula for it. High risk, direct football that actually blends possession, slow build up correctly. Like, it's none of that ridiculous pish.
Oh,
I'm actually looking at the teams, and I'll quickly share my screen for 2 seconds.
Mhm.
The teams are actually considerably good. I'll keep it very short and sweet, but I like the lineups. I love the Barcelona centre back Kubarsi, but there's the lineups for both sides. Not gonna lie, I actually really like those. I'll zoom in just a little bit for everybody. There you
I
go.
think
Can't deny,
football is
like,
healing. You've got Inzaghi, you've got Flick, and you've got Enrique. 3 of the semi-finalists this year. The way they play with their teams, I love everything about those 3 teams. The fact that those 3 teams are in the semi-finals and I'm watching them and they're doing the business.
yeah.
It's given me hope for the game. I saw a highlights reel actually on Yamal, by the way. Someone flipped the highlights reel. So everything he did on his left foot, it looked like it was on his right foot. It was like watching young Neymar at Santos.
I know. Look at the
It was
benches as
honestly
well.
insane. I don't know how I've not seen it until now, but I was watching the clips. I was like, damn, this looks really familiar.
It's honestly so interesting. The benches are incredible as well. Obviously for Barcelona, one big miss for Barcelona. As a right back, Jules Koundé. But apart from that, and actually to be fair, I don't know what happened to... I think he's injured as well then. Scrap that. Left back as well, Alejandro Balde. But apart from that, Barcelona are full strip. I hate the fact that De Jong plays over fucking Casado. I don't know if he's injured as well, but Casado's a player I really like. Lewandowski's obviously just back from injury, so you're not going to expect him to play. Ansu Fati's wank. But it's a decent side.
Terribly, was it Brighton? Then you're not coming back, are you?
Yeah. The fact that Hansi Flick seems to have restored confidence in Ferran Torres is mental. Because he's still shit. But this is... I know people are saying this is Barcelona's best player. And I absolutely understand that. But they're all wrong. That's their best player right here. Like, if he doesn't win the Ballon d'Or this year, then I'm still going to continue boycotting it.
Don't blame me. I mean, ever since Ronaldo Messi, it's just been a fraud. Ballon d'Or.
Agreed. I'm just going to check if what we got. This moron commentating. Looks like Yamal's just teasing them about, but they've had a couple of fouls. That is insane.
He's only 17.
And he's played 102 games. Nah, that's not even funny. Andy Wallingford has said Inter will win this 2-1. You better hope you're right then, kid. But I'll keep tabs on it in the meantime. Back to you, Nathan.
Happy days. So obviously, we'll get the score updates throughout the game. But back to the championship. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna run through top to bottom. Obviously, we're not gonna go through each of individual scores. We're gonna quickly touch on each of the teams going up from 24th to first. Obviously, finishing off with the stripper club. Well, these are the true stripper club, but we all know who's taking the title now, aren't we? But
massively,
we'll rip into everyone's things, and I can't even speak. What is this? Happy Tuesday, lads! But we're going to start with the 3 relegated teams, and you know what, lads?
I think we've all had a blunder when it comes to our predictions for them. Like, we've all had a blunder here somewhere, except actually no, nobody predicted Cardiff.
Yeah, you know what? Let's get it out of the way.
Vincent Tan, he's the man with a plan. Vincent Tan.
Still hilarious, that.
I don't even know where to start.
In mine and Nathan's defense, we didn't predict Cardiff in the playoffs like you did, Reece.
I was being generous at the start of the season. But to be fair, my reasons were because I kind of exposed them. I said if they actually spend the money they actually do have, they will get in the playoffs. So I was right for a different reason, but wrong in the result. I call it 50-50.
Cardiff this season is probably one of the biggest car crash seasons I've ever seen in my life. It reminds me of
Chelsea in 2015-16.
Oh my god.
Fulham in 13-14 when they got relegated from the Premier League. You know, they started the season off with a manager, obviously they had the year before.
Was that the year Felix McGrath was in, or whatever it was called?
That was the year they had Martin Jol, then they gave it to the assistant, and then they brought in Felix McGrath for the last 10 games of the season. But, you know, 3 managers, players brought in. We see a lot of it. I always think that if you bring 3 managers in during the season, you're gone. That's it. It's over. You're on your way down.
Yeah, there's no coming back from that.
There is one case study that proves me wrong on that one. I can't remember for the life of me who it was now.
I'm rarely wrong, but when I'm wrong, I will admit it somewhere.
But honestly, Cardiff this season, I mean, we've said it all.
I've done it before, honest to God.
Honestly,
you'll be hitting Port Vale again, mate.
Like, Plymouth went down.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
we were all right. I actually got that right. I'll actually got them in the right position. I'll take that. That's the only thing I got right.
Fair play. Nathan had them going down as well. It doesn't appear Doug had them going down. I thought they were going to scrape because I thought the teams below them were gonna. I thought the teams that would get relegated, even if I was wrong in the teams, I thought there were going to be car crashes of seasons.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah,
and
you're right like that. I agree.
to an extent, 2 of them were ultimate car crashes. Plymouth, we all knew would be down there. Sacked Rooney for the better, and they did. Do you know what? I'm surprised Vincent Tan didn't look at the bloke Plymouth hired, because Plymouth got him and got sacked from the Belgian Pro League, which is where Vincent Tan's producing another car crash anyway. I don't know how he didn't look there and think, okay, there's one car crash, let me bring it back over here.
Yep.
Because it might have been for the better, but I think Cardiff are a car crash. We've already discussed what's in store for them. Plymouth, we're always going to be down there.
Yep.
So I don't know if Plymouth comes straight back up, to be honest.
No, they
At
won't.
the end of the day, for me, if they keep Musilic, they definitely. I think they're going to be one of the strongest contenders in League One. Like, speaking to loads of League One fans, etc., that league is just absolutely terrible with the quality.
Well, if Wrexham can walk through it, then it says a lot.
And same with Birmingham as well. I know they've got all this money, but not to win every single game is absolutely astonishing. With some of them spending how
Birmingham
much
spent ridiculous money.
Deals, you know.
Birmingham and Wrexham spent ridiculous money. Wrexham brought in the likes of Jay Rodriguez, players of high pedigree, and paid wages. Wrexham had 3 strikers, I think, at the club already come January, and they still signed Jay Rodriguez and someone else.
I think that's
Smith,
what
I think his name is. Used to play for Reading.
This is what makes, and this is where it's going to come really down to it. Still no shots in 13 minutes between Barcelona and Inter Milan, by the way.
Wow.
Although Barcelona have had 1 offside. Oh, hold on.
Go on.
Oh, never mind. Inter Milan have just now had an offside as well. But it's Barcelona are over 60% possession. What I was going to say, and this is why Wrexham are genuinely one of the smartest clubs going into the Championship, is yes, they've spent a ridiculous amount of money, as has Birmingham, but what Wrexham have actually done, and this is what other clubs really need to wake up and quote unquote smell the coffee. They've reinforced that attacking position so that in the summer they don't have to even need to touch their strikers. They just need to work the rest of their squad. If you actually deep it, Wrexham are, when it comes to scoring goals, Wrexham are completely fine. Their biggest problem is getting shutouts. They're really bad at not getting a lot of shutouts. So if they just work on their defence all summer, Wrexham are going to finish minimum third in the Championship next season if they improve their defence. I'm not expecting them obviously to finish in Barcelona finally had a shot. It only took them 60 minutes. I'm not expecting Wrexham to go and do another promotion on the bounce. I think even Wrexham fans will say we'll probably finish mid-table, or at least promotion challenging, but through the playoffs, and I think that's reasonable. But the only way they will actually get up, in my opinion, is if they work in the defence. I don't think 100%. They will, though. I think they'll go, we've got to attack and all that, and I think that's a bad call. Their defence is my biggest concern.
I think with Wrexham as well, there's going to be a lot of banana skin matches where games that you're expecting Wrexham to win, they just get absolutely found out. Like
Southampton will be one for them.
Definitely. Like, I rate Parkinson as a manager, but Championship level...
What are we thinking? In terms of the teams that are left in the Championship, excluding Leeds, Sheffield United and the 3 relegated teams, how many games roughly, either home and away... Actually, instead of home and away, let's just pick out teams. Mm-hmm. Which teams do you think they struggle against next season? I think already I can name 5. Minimum 5 already.
I can name a few. Mainly managerial.
I was going to say, is that including the teams that go down from the Premier League?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's
they would add to it. I'm saying right now, if you just look at the Championship already, I think they struggle. I think they struggle with Swansea.
Yes.
I think they're going to struggle with Swansea because the bragging rights for the Welsh clubs is going to be really important, and
that still makes me ill just thinking about that.
Yeah, that's going to come in. It's going to come into it. In Swansea, even though they're a pathetic football club, they really pride themselves on bragging rights. So I think Swansea will beat them home and away. I think they will struggle with West Brom. I think they'll struggle with Blackburn.
Yeah,
even though where they are, there's something about Blackburn. I think they will struggle.
No, they don't have Eustace. They have Ishmael, don't they?
Yeah, I think they're going to struggle. I don't think they're going to get promoted, so I think they're going to struggle with Coventry City.
Yep.
And then the last team I think they'll struggle with is another team that I think aren't going to get promoted. They are 100% going to struggle with Bristol City.
What about Sheffield Wednesday? Danny Roll.
Is he not the favourite for the He's the favourite for the Southampton job, is he not?
He is, yeah.
If they get Southampton, then they're fine.
I was going to suggest anywhere that Roll and even Cifuentes go, because obviously Cifuentes wants out of QPR. I think wherever those 2 managers go, I think would also. But they may be the clubs that go down. Southampton and Leicester might appoint those 2 managers.
That's what I'm thinking. I actually think they will. I think Cifuentes would be perfect for Leicester, and I think Danny Roll makes more sense for Southampton. It's interesting. I will be watching more of the Championship next season for those 2 to see how they bounce back. But I will 100% be watching for Wrexham because I want to see how Wrexham approach the league. But there's something about the 5 teams I've mentioned. Don't know if it's just gut instinct or just the way that it's obvious about defence, where I think Wrexham will be like, fucked. You know who I actually think they'll whip apart both home and away? Watford.
Oh my god. We will get on to Watford shortly because what an absolute shambles.
Yeah. Do you think they struggle against the likes of Portsmouth and Stoke? Or do you think it's just too many years too late for those 2 to even be a problem for Wrexham?
Well, for me, Stoke are
Definitely
just...
Stoke.
For me, they're literally the plug hole team now that we've gone. Portsmouth, Messina with a bit more experience. I think they'll struggle at Fratton Park.
So do I.
Everyone has struggled there this season. Away from home, not so much. I think they should be able to slowly graft out a win, but...
Inter are dominating, by the way.
Oh, wow.
The Inter are all over Barcelona. and they're all, bar the possession metrics, they're all over them. They've just yet to have a shot on goal. This is going to be really tight, boys. This one will be tight. Anyway,
It's gonna be a good
let's
game. Anyway,
dissect these predictions.
hell yeah! So we've obviously gone through the bottom two absolute shambles, and we don't need to go over those two anymore because my head will end up blowing up if I have to talk about Cardiff City anymore. Quite frankly,
Yeah.
The next biggest shambles, 22nd Luton Town.
Mm.
Like, where do we start with this one? So I'll get my summary just straight away out where I think it's very easy to see where it's gone wrong here. You lost your spine of your Premier League squad. Now, the reason I had them so high is because you had a lot of the Championship characters still there, but when you're losing your likes of Ross Barkley, Carlton Morris was an absolute disgrace this season in my eyes. And just the midfield, there's just no substance there. You bring in Mark McGuinness for £10 million. What a waste of money that was. We cashed in nicely there. And ultimately, if you sign in Josh Bowler in 2025 in a promotion battle, you deserve to get relegated. You sacked Rob Edwards too late. I know you're fan owned, so there's a little bit of a relationship there. But bringing in Matt Bloomfield at the end, just way too little too late. And I don't even know where to start for him next season because that is going to be one hell of a rebuild.
No, I know. I mean, obviously, like, the possession is starting to even out. By the way, we're nearly a 50-50 possession game now. Like, we're really close. I'll say this in the sense of it. They finally had a shot on target. Inter Milan still 0-0 after 21 minutes. This is mental. I had them to win the league. Oh, Inter Milan have finally scored. There you go.
God, that came around quick.
Yeah, they're dominating them. Like, Barcelona are being mugged. Like, they're not doing anything. Fair play to Inter Milan, like, and it is Martinez. If Inter Milan get another goal, I don't care how many Barcelona score or try to score. They won't. Not in this atmosphere. Like, if Inter Milan win this, Inter Milan are going to win the league and European Cup double. I don't know if there's a team in Europe that can stop them. Anyway, the reason I had Luton Town literally to win the league, which I'm really annoyed about, is literally what you've just said, Nathan. It's you're coming down, the characters there. You should be motivated to go, all right, we at least tried in the Premier League. We didn't like sit about and mug it. Like, we actually tried to take teams head on. We tried to play good football. We wanted to show that we belong here. But then, as you say, the minute they got relegated, everything just crumbled for Luton Town, and I think that says a lot about maybe were the ownership maybe too hesitant about what they were doing, what they were not doing, and then they backed out. And then I don't know why any Championship club would sign an absolute moron for 10 million quid. Like, you must be on drugs, but they did anyway. But the reality of it is they just didn't prepare properly for the Championship, which says a lot. Rob Edwards, he had a decent season last season in the Premier League, even though obviously it didn't work out. But the minute they went straight back down, all I kept hearing from Luton Town fans is, we're still playing the same football. We're not actually taking this league seriously. And it's a reflection by back-to-back relegations. So yeah, they absolutely deserve what they got. They deserve it by a mile.
100%. What's your thoughts, mate, Julio?
You know, I obviously, as you can see from my predictions, I thought they would get into the playoffs. I wasn't sure that they would actually win the playoffs, but I didn't think they would go back up the first time of asking. But I don't know. I thought there was enough stability in the team that would have, even when they were down there, I thought they'll be fine. They'll be fine. But other teams around them made the right appointments. You know, Derby got Eustace. Oxford obviously changed their manager as well, didn't they, at one point, which actually surprised me. But and then obviously the other teams around them were a bit of a car crash as well. But even so, like, I didn't think that they would be this far off. And I actually think that, I don't know when the last time this happened was, but I don't think any of the teams that go down will be in the automatics next season to come back up. I don't think any of those three will. I don't have faith right now. I know it's very easy for me to say that now that everything is dark because the season's just ended. And I don't know what's going to happen with each of the football clubs. I don't know what managers are staying, what managers are.
At the end of the day, when you look at it, Cardiff, honestly, find me one positive Cardiff fan at the moment. Place is just a mess. Plymouth, there's too much uncertainty with Musolic and obviously upstairs. And then Luton is just an overhaul. So,
I think as well, I think two of those clubs are not powerhouses. When Birmingham came up, when Birmingham went down, powerhouse. Even when Sunderland went down, they were a powerhouse. They didn't come back for a few years, but they were a powerhouse. Luton, Plymouth aren't, and Cardiff are in a mess. So I know that sounds quite elitist when I'm comparing football clubs. Even the likes of Leeds and Leicester, years ago when they were down in League One, powerhouses.
Yeah,
these clubs,
Southampton,
show, and exactly. So my thing is that I think
actually we're forgetting a few more. We're forgetting Charlton, Portsmouth, and Bolton,
and Forest as well.
Of course, like this is not like
it's not elitist in any way. It's actually it's a fact.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
But it's like the powerhouse clubs have a greater advantage, and we've seen that big clubs can still get swallowed by League One and how difficult it is. So I think that because as well, especially with Cardiff, when you've got players on high wages who are not League One players, you're going to have that overhaul. So you're going to lose that stability anyway. And
like Callum Chambers, £30,000 a week in League One,
which, especially for £30,000 on somebody who does what exactly?
Yeah,
like it's like that 30k a week would be so much more effective on a couple of players who aren't essentially we're buying League One players, but you're actually buying players who are at the very bottom of the Championship, who will be motivated to go, absolutely no way do I want to be any lower, so I want to do even better to get up there. I think it's like all about that. People moan about, it's all about smart recruitment, or it's bad recruitment, or it's what kind of players you want. The best clubs always sign the players that have in my opinion, four key traits. Number one, good technical ability. Number two, seriously good athletes. Because you need to be, in this day and age, you need to be a really good athlete.
Especially for these divisions as well.
Yeah. Number three, clever, like with and without the ball. There's more just technical ability, like physically clever. And then number four, you could potentially split these into a separate, or you can mark them as one. I mark them as one. Hunger, grit, and determination. Literally, like if you have none of those with motivation, you're going nowhere. That's why the best footballers always succeed. They have all of that. It's the best football clubs make the best investments. You look at the three that are relegated, I only have confidence in one of those clubs actually making those kind of moves if they've got the balls to do it, and it's Cardiff.
Really?
But Cardiff, the name, has more of a pull for me than Luton and Plymouth. And I think it comes from a perspective of, like, we obviously discussed it that, Cardiff build around all the young players they've got, and there is a good network of young players that they can actually use, but they can't just solely rely on, they're going to have to buy from they're going to have to get bottom end Championship, top end League One players. Not just Cardiff, all three of those all of those clubs that have gone down. You need that wealth of experience. You need that quality. And if you're buying off Portsmouth bench, for example, because he's not quite good enough for the Championship, but he was more than good enough for League One, you need that kind of player. Oxford United had, 2 Cardiff rejects in their team this year?
Yep.
Both would do absolute wonders for Cardiff. Well, maybe not wonders, but arguably would be good for Cardiff next season. I'm pretty sure one of which on loan anyway.
I would honestly...
No, they were all permanent. So Kyron Brown was terrible.
Yeah.
Will Volks, he's just bog standard lower Championship midfielder, isn't he? Borderline League One. And then Joe Bennett was Premier League left back. Full stop.
Yeah. I know he's been a bit of a mug player at Cardiff, but I wouldn't be put off by it, but I think they've not handled. I've said it before. They didn't handle Will Fish correctly, but they can now. League One is the right way to use him correctly in defence.
Yeah.
But
he has got experience for it at good division levels, Championship,
Stockport and all that.
In Scotland as well, he's played, hasn't he, for Hibs?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they should really. Cardiff would make a lot of use signing the good athletic players from the Scottish League and just build the team around them.
At the end of the day, that's what we used to do.
Players. There's a lot of good players in our league that would really suit the League One and get you into the Championship, no problem. Yeah, so
Sunderland
easy.
Came up with those kind of players. That's what League One needs to do. League One needs to, if you go into League One, you need to be looking all around, not just in England, but Scotland as well. There's good because what Scotland has that I think people
overlook a lot.
People overlook it a lot, and I'm going to sit here and say Scotland. The Scottish divisions have character. And what I mean by that is the fact that this isn't like I feel sorry for it, so I'm going to say it's got character. But what I'm saying,
if you say that what you're saying, and this is no disrespect, but there's more heart and soul in the teams that go from our League One and Championship teams that try to compete with Rangers and Celtic in the Scottish Cup than you find with somebody in Championship or League One that tries to compete with Man United in the FA Cup.
Oh,
that's not an insult to those teams, but there's more heart and character because they actually do really go. Imagine a win over those clubs; it'd be insane.
I'm trying to think how to word it, but it's like the standards and the combativeness and there's a word I'm looking for. It's like features.
Survival. It's survival.
It's not features, but it's another word for features. But
Traits.
That one. The
characteristics.
Characteristics and traits of Scottish football translates very well, especially in League One. And if any of those teams want to have a chance of coming back up, they need to go and start shopping in Scotland.
Because it's not just about, obviously, you'll find a lot better technical. You obviously have a lot of technical players that are seriously good and around there, but a lot of people don't overlook as well. There's a lot of good young technical players in Scotland as well that can take a challenge, and I mean, like, they will really, like, if you come at them, they will fuck you up.
Yeah.
But they'll also play you off your feet. Like right now, if you ever get a chance, there's two players in the Scottish League I recommend watching. One of them, obviously, Rangers are after. The others, Rangers, Celtic, and a couple other teams are competing for. So the first one is Mulligan that plays for Dundee. Really good midfielder. The other one is Lennon Miller.
Right, yeah, Miller. I've heard of him. But
seriously good player. He's only 18 years old. And you might look at him and go, you wouldn't think he's a tank. Because he looks like really slim build and all that. But the guy literally mugged Callum McGregor and knocked him on his arse. And I mean, like, proper bullied him. And he can play holding midfield, he can play as a box-to-box, he can play as a number 10. And I'm like, Baldy, why is he not in the Scotland squad? Because he's generally that good for an 18-year-old, and there's not a lot of good young Scottish technical players out there. There's maybe like 4 or 5. But I mean, like, at that age, under 21, he's already labelled the best under 21 Scotland player in Scotland, which says a lot, and he plays for Motherwell. But if you get a chance, do check him out. Like, really good player, Lennon Miller. Barcelona have ramped up the shots on. They've yet to have more than a single shot on goal, but their numbers are increasing. The possessions went up by 10% as well in the last 5 minutes. They are going crazy on Inter.
Wow.
But Inter are chilled. They are so chilled, Inter Milan, right now. They're comfy.
Yeah, they will be for the whole game, I reckon, for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, aside from that, so that's our bottom 3. Hull City, just going to touch up. Well, we're just going to rapid fire these bunch of frauds at the bottom.
Yeah, I got that wrong.
Hull, at the end of the day, serves you right for sacking Rossinia. Get a massive rebuild in the summer. Tim Walter, useless. Celes, looks like he's going to be unfairly sacked for working a miracle, but yeah, they're a bunch of frauds at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Moving on, Preston, Ryan Lowe gone after a game was absolutely hilarious. Paul Heckingbottom, as you know, Reece, as you know, Julio, absolute fraud as a manager. Nearly got him relegated. Terrible appointment.
He is literally the less intelligent Michael Beale.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot because he's not intelligent either. They're cut from the same cloth.
100%. It's going to be interesting to see where those bunch of frauds are going to be next year. Moving on, Stoke, another sad season. Who remembers Narsic Pelac?
Yeah, briefly.
Completely forgot before writing this list. He was sacked after a dreadful start. Mark Robbins comes in, just absolutely saves them. Oxford, I was right that they were going to stay up. Absolute miracle.
I wasn't. I thought they were a shoo-in to go down. I feel like we need to cook our predictions even more, to be honest, because I thought Derby and Oxford were shoo-ins to go down.
I agree.
I thought the same as well. At the end of the day, when you have, especially in Derby's case, when you have Paul Warner's manager in the Championship, you're cooked.
Oh yeah.
I was surprised they brought Eustace in. Another great escape for him.
Now, here's an interesting question. Does John Eustace get manager of the season for what he did at both Blackburn and also Derby?
No, I think they're going to give it to that fucking wanker. They're going to give it to Farker.
Oh, right.
But to be honest, I know this might sound mad because I think his style play is absolutely boring. But despite not winning the league on the final day of the season, I think you've got to give it to Scott Parker.
I think they will give it to Scott Parker, to be honest, because we'll come to Burnley, but I did not expect him to come away from this with as much light as he has.
I know Nathan was on the end of season review show for on Doug and Carl's channel, and I was in there watching a few times, and I don't know if Nathan agreed with me, but I put in the chat and I still don't get it. Burnley's defensive, obviously, fucking wanker. I don't know about you guys, but there's something about Burnley having all those clean sheets this season that has got me very, very sus. And I'm not saying it because they're a bad side. I'm not saying it in that any way at all. But there's no way, shape or form a team should be doing that amazingly well defensively in the Championship over a 46-game season. Like, for the amount of goals they genuinely didn't concede, it doesn't make any sense to me, you know? Like, the record they've done for clean sheets and the amount of goals conceded, I've never seen a team do that in the Championship before, and to me it screams incredibly sus.
It is, and at the end of, well, first of all, that's never being broken. But if anyone's
absolutely not, there's no way.
And we've seen it at Bournemouth and also Fulham, they just completely bore teams to death. They get the early goal, and then they just seem to keep it forever. If they can slip it through on either wing, I know Josh Brownhill was, for me, he's Championship player of the season. Like,
I agree.
16 goals from midfield, 8 assists. That's absolutely ridiculous. That's like Peter Whittingham levels.
It is madness. And then it's all of a sudden they go, all right, we've got the clean sheet record now. And then they said, you know what, if we really want to catch leads, we have to just start scoring goals. And all of a sudden they're scoring 4 or 5 goals in a game. And I'm like, what's going on here?
It's too little too late. I think
they're gonna get smashed next season. I wouldn't be surprised if the best defence in the Championship is the team that finishes bottom of the league. I will not be surprised if Burnley actually finish bottom of the league next season. It's like the antithesis of football. You break a record.
I was gonna say they don't score enough goals, Burnley. You know, they got that little clean sheets, but I think they're 60 goals they scored all season?
Yeah.
Something like that, whereas Leeds trumped them by I think 30 extra goals. Something ridiculous like that. At least Farker went, right, well, we'll probably concede goals, and you know, Melia will be the reason we don't break Reading's record, but you know, we're going to score as many goals as possible.
Top tier, top tier.
It's true though. When you deep it, I think I don't know how many points he's cost them this year, but I want to say it's
he
double
was
digits.
diabolical.
And the fact that they finished on, what was it, 100 points?
Yeah,
They
100
finished on?
points.
They both did.
That
never- I
could have
don't-
gone a long way. Yeah, I mean, they had a lot of draws as well. Burnley as well. They only had 2 losses, I think, all season. But I think what was ridiculous is when they went, okay, well, we've got the clean sheet record. Now let's start scoring goals. Like, it's too little, too late. You're not going to catch Leeds' goal difference.
Yeah, so
You should
they
be doing it sooner. But I expect nothing less from it. Like, if you've got a £20 million goalkeeper and a £10 million centre back from League One and the Premier League playing in your team week in, week out,
yeah.
of course you should be only conceding 16 goals. But I will praise Scott Parker for the fact that, because I didn't think he had it in him to finish in the automatics. I thought he was going to bottle it until Kingdom Come in the playoffs.
It
Because
says
he's-
a lot.
He's
It's only
not as-
8. Yeah, I was gonna say it says a lot. Even though it's only 8 games more, they still, in terms of English League record, they've only conceded 1 goal more than Chelsea's record defence in the Premier League from 20 years ago, which is horrifying. If they had done that, I would have generally called the FBI.
Well, the thing you've got to look at with Scott Parker as well, and this is what I'm going to say in my Prem predictions next year. Look at what happened at Fulham and Bournemouth. Very,
Yes.
very similar
Yes.
in the fact that they had a little bit of worse defences. He refused to change the style of play, and instantly he was worked out. It was worse at Fulham because they had a worse squad, but when he was at Bournemouth, that defence was atrocious. The owner saw through it straight away. He was straight out of the door after that absolute disaster against Liverpool. Changed the style of play under a new manager who relies on wins, adapts the league to him, done. And look at where Bournemouth are now.
I know.
I'd actually disagree with that on the base, and what it does is, in fact, it makes Scott Parker look worse. The first time he went down with Fulham, he'd been drafted in as the 3rd manager of the season after Jokanovic and Ranieri, and they were already gone by that point. He brings them up through the playoffs during COVID, which I'm not going to lie, you should have been automatics anyway, realistically. So does that. They signed some really good players. They have a very good team. This is a team that's got Areola in goal. You've got Aina, you've got Robinson, you've got Lookman, you've got Zambo Anguissa, you've got Loftus-Cheek, and you go down without a whimper. And then Marco Silva takes over, and he does absolute bits with what's left of the team, because there's no way the likes of Zambo Anguissa and Loftus-Cheek are sticking around, and Lookman as well.
At the end of the
Silva's
day,
bits.
Marco Silva, that championship season was plaster work just to get them up.
Yeah. And now they are near enough the finished article. Like they look right.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking at the stats as well for the championship season, and it's mental. I mean, Leeds 95 goals scored, 30 conceded, 65 goal difference. Burnley 69 scored, 16 conceded, 53. Then I just go right to the bottom of the league, and this is where it gets funny. Cardiff finished bottom of the league on 40 goals scored and 73 conceded, but these were the 3rd worst defence in the entire league. 3rd worst.
I'm pretty
Plymouth-
sure Cardiff won more games than the teams around them
We did.
as well.
No.
That's the worst part.
Group
Cardiff had
somewhere.
a lot of draws, and I think they had less losses, like the second or 3rd least losses down there.
If you look at the championship season, in terms of defeats, this is where Inter Milan win the game. This is it. After Inter Milan will score this penalty, and that's it. When you look at it, Cardiff 9 wins all season, 17 draws, 20 defeats, just horse shit. But Plymouth won 2 more games, 4 less draws, 2 more defeats, conceded 88 goals. You have to go all the way up to 16th in the league to the second, the 3rd worst defence in the league. That's Portsmouth with 71 goals conceded.
And that was literally just their terrible away form.
Yeah.
That cost them that.
They have actually, have they got the same? Oh, hold on. Oh no, never mind. That's goals scored. I was going to say their defences conceded is the same as the amount of goals that Norwich scored. They scored 71. It's mental. That's how bad the league is, though. Like when you deep it, it's going to get even worse next season.
100%.
I thought Cardiff were going to do well based on the fact I exposed them, but I guess they wanted to prove me wrong. Pricks.
Hey, they proved us all wrong. We were. I could go until tomorrow morning. Less said about that absolute shambles over there.
Rather
Where
not,
are we
thank
next?
you.
So we touched on obviously Portsmouth, QPR, Cifuentes got greedy a bit at the end, didn't he? Be interesting to see where he ends up next year. And now we move on to the app. I was going to praise them today. Watford.
That's it. 2-0.
Oh yeah, 2-0.
That's it. That's it now. Yeah, that's it now. Like,
RIP Barcelona.
yeah, I'll be surprised if they find a way to turn it around. I'll be very surprised, but yeah, it was Kubarsi that fouled Martinez as well. That's the worst thing. It was unfortunate, but shit happens. But yeah, it's over. There's no way. I don't know how Barca turn this around. Even more as well as that bastard Çalhanoğlu scored.
Interesting.
But I don't think PSG can beat them in this final if PSG make it. I don't think Arsenal will either. There's something about Inter Milan as a whole. If they win it this year, then fair play to them. They really do deserve it. Annoyingly. Anyway, let's carry on.
100%. Yeah, Watford. I was about to praise that. I was thinking last night, pod tomorrow. They've kept and put faith in Tom Cleverley all season. He's dragged them kicking and screaming into 14th with a squad that has regressed so much from when they got relegated from the Premier League that has been diluted by the lack of investment.
But
Puts
then
them into 14th, sacked. I mean, they're giving us for a run for their money at this point. Like, 20 managers since 2010. Absolutely shocking.
these clubs, I said it, was it last year or the year before? And there's a specific phrase that I said, and it makes me laugh because it's so true. All these clubs have got what I like to call acute Chelsea syndrome, where they will go through any manager, sack him at the faintest bit of where it goes wrong, even the slightest bit goes wrong, thinking the next manager's going to go well, because they think they're Chelsea, but they don't have the resources or the player quality like Chelsea for it to work. And I'm like, these are just absolute morons.
Well, they did at one point. They were doing it in the Premier League. They were doing it even just as they were coming up and coming back up in the Championship. The year they came up, the second time, I think, was it 2 or 3 managers they had? I know
they had two. They had Munoz, and then who did they go up with?
Not Gracia. Was it not?
No, Gracia had gone by then. This was in 2020, 2021. So Munoz was there till like Christmas, and then...
No, it wasn't Flores because he was in Spain, I think.
Crazy.
Yeah. Watford are really like... Watford are the perfect example of never buy into when a football club praises their manager. I mean, Man Utd have done it twice, but never take... We're happy with what the manager's doing at face value, because then within a month that guy is gone. It only took Watford like 40 hours. I feel bad for Tom Cleverley. I mean, the guy was a shit footballer, but still,
the thing is, he did wonders with them as well. Like,
yeah,
we've all seen it over the last couple of years how much that squad has been stripped down to the bare bones. Drags
massively.
And screaming at the league. And I don't know what the Pozzos are expecting for me.
No idea.
Fraudulent. And then speaking about another disaster class this season with their squad that they've got, Norwich, Reece's favourite strippers. I mean, you brought in Johannes Hoffrup from like some hipster Swedish side. Ridiculously underachieved with that squad. You got likes of Angus Gunn, Onal Hernandez, probably Roger Sainz is going to go in this next season. Where do you even go from there? Because Norwich should have been comfortably in the playoffs. I had them.
Josh Sargent was scoring goals.
He was. That's a miracle.
And they were nowhere near the playoffs. Do you know what? I said this the other week. Norwich, Delia needs to do the right thing now for herself. Just hire Russell Martin. He's literally there
Yeah.
waiting. Ex-player, he's there waiting. Go hire him, because we know how much you love these kind of failure like managers who, as Reece likes to put it, are sexually attracted to the championship. And just he's there. Just go hire him. Just put everyone out of their misery. We know you're going to do it. Don't try and give us this, we might give it to Jack Wilshere off the basis of 2 or 3 interim games. No. Russell Martin's there waiting. Just go and hire him.
Go hire him, get it done. I mean, I actually think it would work well as well. Like, it would be the biggest waste of time just appointing Jack Wilshere, because one of the only things you get to measure him on is beating Cardiff 4-2, where we were absolutely terrible with 10 men. So you can't even base that on anything.
Do you know what the mad thing is? I thought the goals would click this year, and that's why they would be in 9th.
Yeah.
I was half right. But they didn't finish 9th, they finished 13th.
Oh.
And obviously we just discussed Watford. Nathan, I was in the same boat as you. I was thinking like, damn, they're actually going to keep this bloke. They've actually kept this geezer. They finally know what they're about. He might be gone by November. And that prediction lasted long. But I thought we saw the shambles last summer, which is why I thought they would have what Cardiff had. Pretty much. I thought they were going to have cleverly gone by October, because they realised, damn, we shouldn't have kept this guy, and then have 2 or 3 managers and then go down in a shit show. Wrong club. But yeah, back to obviously Delia. Yeah, I thought it would click. It didn't. QPR as well, actually, I just want to quickly say I think they're in trouble next season. Because I think Cifuentes proved me wrong big time last season, and then he pulled them out the gutter again during this season. They had a shocking first 12 games of the year, then they went on a mad run, and the last month or so it's gone very sour. I think he leaves. So
I mean, he's on gardening leave as it is anyway, for being absolutely chased down by West Brom.
What's Doug saying? Anyone seen what Lego Head has said? All words, no substance.
Oh no.
I gotta hear this.
Yeah, chuck it in the chat, Doug. Anyway, moving swiftly on to more frauds. Wait, found it. Oh dear Christ. Here we go, lads. I can't wait, because we've got the correct banner for this. I quote, "Winning trophies is about being right in the right moment in the right place. Liverpool have won the league with fewer points than what we had in the last 2 seasons. With the points of the last 2 seasons, we would have won 2 Premier Leagues."
That's nice.
Quote Mikel Arteta, the absolute spanner. Correct, badminton. What is it with these? Yes, we got some points. We got to 92, we got 97. Shut your fucking mouth, you spanner. Like, I don't care if I finished on 80 points. Like, end of the day, if I'm getting 92 points, I'm not even getting a sniff on a trophy, I would be doing the honourable thing. I'd be like, you know what, I can't take them any further, I quit.
Yeah.
Like, simple put, Mikel Arteta needs to do a Mankind, get someone just to fake the video and just get him to say I quit, and then fucking have his contract terminated. If Arsenal really want to win a trophy, they must sack Mikel Arteta. If they don't want to win trophies, then give him another extension, give him another 800 million to spend. Arsenal will win nothing. Mark my words.
At the end of the day, they're just going to hover around this top. Well, it's top 5 now, isn't it? This top 5 myth. But it's just like, I mean, they might as well just start doing what they do in the Championship, or even what they do in League 2. You get a trophy for finishing 3rd. Congratulations, whoop-de-doo, you qualified for Europe. Yeah, but what have you won? Look at Everton. Imagine if they qualified for Europe every season.
They're just absolute. It's their fans. They're all delusional, but he stems from it, and I'm like, surely surely,
at the end of the day, it's just pumping them into failure. Like, look at when they weren't qualifying for Europe; they were winning trophies.
I know.
Europa League Thursday nights. Unbelievable. Arsenal fans just moan about everything, but like going back to obviously us in a little bit, we're playing in that Tin Pot JPT, whatever you call it now.
Yeah.
I've got a million names for a trophy for the first time in 25 years. If we don't win that next season and everyone's just saying, "Oh, just play the kids for it," I'd be fuming. Wembley trip trophy.
Yeah, the kid who scored for Peterborough in their final this year. What was his name? Harley Mills? Fucking hell. He sat with my brother in maths in secondary school.
That's insane.
You know how insane that is? Literally, my brother put it on his story on Instagram. I was like, you know this kid? He's like, yeah, he sat with me in maths for 5 years. I'm like, what? Small world and a half.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, I don't have an issue with that trophy. If I was in a League One club, and if I've got the squad depth to challenge for it, but I think it's kind of like the League Cup basically of the EFL, where they just play the second team for it, and if they get through, they get through. If they don't, oh well. But if you don't like it, you're taking your club away from the opportunity of a Wembley trip. And I wouldn't want to deny clubs off that, because there are clubs of all different. Bear in mind, who lost that final this year? Who lost it? Birmingham did. The team that went to the, Peterborough finished halfway down League One, by the way, after being a playoff team the last couple of years with the most hilarious bottle job 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But you could argue that because even though they finished, 17th, they won the EFL trophy, they had a good season in comparison to a lot of other football clubs in that division.
Like,
even those who,
for example, look at someone in the playoffs like Bolton or Charlton.
I was going to say Reading. What if Reading don't go up? Reading don't go up. Good for them, because Reading is an absolute shit show in itself. And every time I go there, the town is so devoid of energy. It's just so depressing. And I'm so glad I commute to uni. I don't live there anymore, because my God, this entire thing needs an uplift. And I think the football club could do that. But I wouldn't want to. This is why I'd never scrap the Johnstons, Papa John's, Bristol Street Motors, probably mine and Reese's shitty car dealership of Russell, Leshy, Morgan, or whatever, just as the sponsor.
I would say that they have, quite frankly, the competition is just designed stupidly, but it's an effective trophy. But you need to stop.
It is designed stupidly. I don't like this 3-team group format. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is crap. But
and not only that, I'm pretty sure it's seeded now as well. So you get teams local around you. So we could play Newport for the first time in 30 years.
I think that's good though, because we discussed this.
But we stooped so low.
No, but the thing is, though, we discussed this in September.
We did.
Yeah.
And we discussed that it would be good to see teams locally.
It would just be smart to take the teams out of the League Cup and just have them focus just on this one.
Yeah, but I don't think we need EFL teams in the League Cup. Well, League One and League Two. We don't need them. It's great when the likes of Colchester knock out Spurs on penalties. It's great to see stories like that. But to be honest with you, they've already got their own League Cup, and these clubs focus more on FA Cup qualification in the early rounds. But yeah, we're kind of going off topic here. We're going straight back into the how do we fix football? But
exactly. But I will just very squeeze this sentence in here. We have to check all our resources in that trophy next season. Don't care what anyone says, to be honest. But moving swiftly onward, Sheffield Wednesday, Darry Roll, is he going?
Yes.
Reece?
Wait, what?
Is Danny Roll leaving?
Oh, right, it's Danny Roll. Sorry, my bad there. I still think he gets the Southampton job.
Do you know what? I'd be impressed if he stayed and he pushed for playoffs. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
But I think Southampton will come in, and I think Sheffield Wednesday will be resigned to letting him go.
Yeah.
I also think as well, the second that Roll leaves exposes the shambles of the transfer as well. That's been covered up by Danny Roll.
100%. If he goes, Sheffield Wednesday are where Luton is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seen it time and time again.
Doomsday.
Absolutely. All I'll say is look in this direction. Anyway, next one. This is just going to depress the hell out of me. Swansea. You sacked the hipster at the correct time, who completely, along with your hipster fans, hijacked your identity, which I've been saying on Twitter for years. You got this Swansea play. Julio loves it from just how good it was in, 2011 to 2014? In particular, Reece, Michael Laudrup, another one. That was a distinct style. It was
Reece
then
was
hijacked by the
attracted
hipsters.
to that team.
Oh, he was.
No, it's just the manager I like.
A team that had Wilfred Bonney in it, Reece was like creaming.
No, Scarlett Johansson was still top of the list, but plain and simple, I just liked the manager. Like, I thought the team could have been a whole lot better, but I liked the manager.
And what was the reason you liked the manager, though?
Yeah, when they sacked Laudrup, I wish Swansea would burn in hell. To be fair.
Do you know what I loved about Laudrup was there's a story Ashley Williams tells, and it's hilarious. It's when Laudrup would just prepare training the same way every week, and on match day he turned to Ashley Williams and be like, "So who are we playing today? What do they play like?" It's actually just didn't care. He did no prep for that team until the actual day, if there was any prep. He just went, right, we're just going to go out there, we're going to do our thing, and we're going to win. Which, for me, is what the Swansea way should be, in essence.
I mean, they beat Man United multiple times doing that, so it says a lot.
The amount
it's
of
not
wins against
hard.
top six teams, pre-2015 was absurd as well.
Like, it's not hard. Like, quite frankly, that level of arrogance is important to football, but these managers are just so obsessed with, it's got to be this or that, and I'm like, who gives a flying fuck? I've already proved the algorithm. I've already proved the right way to fuck the algorithm up anyway, so...
But on top of that, at the end of the day with Swansea, I mean, I know this is biased, but I do think they are the most arrogant fan base in the Championship.
Nathan, find the tweets you and me were sharing that describe what was made the Swansea way good in the 2000s and why the Swansea fan base have fraudulently changed that.
Right, let's find the tweet.
What the discussion was, and it was I think it was a high-profile Swansea fan that tweeted it as well.
It was. Wasn't it where he said he would rather draw lose games but play a nice style of football because he was fuming that they appointed Alan Sheehan?
Probably. I can't remember who said that. I remember there's a high-profile. I can't remember what his name is actually, which is really annoying because I see his tweets a lot on my feed. But he basically said that what made the Swansea way good in the 2000s was obviously possession football, because what you did with it, you don't just pass it around. You don't just go to a Chinese restaurant and start passing the menu around until everyone can't decide whether they want to order or not. That's literally what certain sections of the fan base want now. I think I've got no issue with possession football. It's what you do with it. If you're fast, if you're direct with possession, which you can be, by the way, you can't sit there and say you're either possession or you're this or you're that. No, you can have good possession, but you can also be really good in turnover, and you can also be fast in transition. It is and direct, and score goals for fun. It is possible, and I think that's what I think for Swansea fans have lost their way a little bit.
Massively.
They've done it to themselves. They've spent so much focusing on possession. Like, they'll love, you show them stats of, in that move for that goal, 150 passes.
Here we go. We've got the tweet here. So this, I'm going to call him out, SCFC James. He said, guess we can paint over all the Swansea way quotes at Fairwood. All those who wanted this, hope it was worth sacrificing identity for win at all costs again. Remember how it worked out last time. Half a squad and years of course correcting.
Yep.
That is just deluded.
No, it so is. It so is. It's bona fide stupidity. Every metric now, bar possession, Inter Milan are dominating on. Everything.
I'm trying to look for my.
I genuinely cannot see anything bar this, but it's ridiculous. I don't think there's... Swansea fans are terrifying. They're just Arsenal. They're just Arsenal fans with. They're just Arsenal fans with less trophies.
Yep. I mean, what makes it scarier as well is everything's coming into line. They've got rid of their owners, which they've just been crying about for years because they want them to invest in money they don't have. And it just horrifies me. They've got Luka Modric there now, and just all this momentum that's just absolutely rocketing them through. It scares me.
Yeah. No, I agree. I still don't see what he's gonna do for them anyway. I still don't understand why he's invested in Swansea. I don't get it.
So random.
I don't know what they offered him. They must have offered him something in Welsh, and he doesn't really speak it. So they must have told him like, you can have anything on this planet, and you've got it. And he's probably went, okay.
100. Anyway, just thinking about all of that. Oh, it's just horrible. Them and Wrexham. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Reece, Michael Carrick at Borough.
Sack him tomorrow. I don't see why people thinking him. He's failed.
Yeah.
Generally, he has failed. He's
For
done,
me-
and people are going to say, "Oh, you have to let him off because he had his squad ripped apart in the second season." I'm like, yeah, cool, true, but he's had another season after the whole rip up thing, so he's had no excuses this time, and they've went even worse. There's no excuse for me. He's not a good manager at all. He's got a good smart footballing brain, but he's not a good manager. If Middlesbrough want to do anything next season, they have to sack Michael Carrick.
Yeah. For me as well, he feels like an almost manager, if that sort of makes sense.
I need.
Oh God, that is a lovely freeze.
That's him getting ready for the munchies.
Oh.
I want to get my way out of here.
Oh, gone.
I want to tell if I work in the theatre.
Am I back?
Brilliant.
Am I back?
You're back.
You're back now after I've just took the piss out.
Don't worry, I heard
Coolio's
it.
turned
I heard
it. I can't deny that was perfect. Thank you
That
so
was
much.
brilliant.
I needed that. I deserved that.
I kind of agree, actually. Listen, I defended Carrick last season with the context around the squad, but I don't know if this team is. I want to sit here and say this team is not good enough to outright finish in the playoffs, but I see what the manager's like. Like, I think I won't.
If Lampard can finish
Hang
above
on,
you, then
let
it
me
says
finish,
a lot.
because I was going to mention Lampard, because I think Lampard was in one of them mad runs where once you pick up momentum, you can do anything. Like Coventry could not go up this year and then be lounging in 17th next season and Lampard gets sacked. It happens. What I will say is the fact that Bristol City is the one that I want to pick out for this example. We've seen every year there are clubs that aren't good enough to outright finish in the playoffs but still do. And I kind of agree with both of you, and I think I agree with Nathan that Michael Carrick might be this nearly man. I hope it's not the case. I hope there's more to him. I'd love to see him do it, but I think finishing 10th when you spent, what was it, 10 million quid, 7 million quid, whatever it was, on Morgan Whittaker, one of the best players in the championship.
Quality player.
Yeah, it's
Even then,
doesn't
it just
bode well.
feels like he underachieved a little bit when he went.
I'm gonna say this, and I stand by it as well. because I think this is why I've got an issue with United fans who say, "Oh, we should go back to an ex-player as a manager." Michael Carrick is the reason why we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because people are, oh, managers got to earn their stripes in a way, 100%. He's now had 3 seasons at Middlesbrough. One of them was fairly decent. Obviously, it was heavy loans and stuff. The second season, there's nothing there, but we can see if you can rebuild, like try and rebuild a little bit and bounce back. The third season, you sign one of the most exciting players to come into the Championship, and you blow it. And I'm like, even with that, you've still got a good enough squad. There's no way that you can't tell me that Middlesbrough are not in the playoffs with that squad. It's a playoff squad.
There should be a better challenge minimum. If you're going to miss out, you miss out 7th on the final day. Not 10th.
Exactly. And ironically, that's where I had them because I thought they would, but they backfired so badly. And Carrick, in terms of football and IQ, very clever, knows his football. But when it comes to managing, he's no better than Gary Neville, he's no better than Paul Scholes, he's no better than Wayne Rooney. In terms of management, they've all equally failed. And at least 2 of them have decided, you know what, management's not for us. At least they've learned. I don't think management is for Michael Carrick. I think Michael Carrick is perfectly adequate as a good coach. I think he would be a good team coach, but as a manager, nah, not for me. I don't see it in him. I don't. That's why he is why my United fans I know are like, we should have kept Carrick to the end of the season, we would have been fine. No, we wouldn't have, because you still have to prove yourself, and he would have backfired just as badly. He's backfired at Middlesbrough. He's went backwards.
I think the only thing for him is he's finished in the similar position every year, and.
Yeah, I suppose.
I'm surprised, given the way the Championship is. I think what he's got going for him is the fact that he's not had it where one season he's finished 70th as opposed to 10th. I think 10th should be as low as it is. I don't know if they get rid of him for the summer, but I think they will give him the summer. But I think if he's not improving by Christmas, then I think maybe a decision might be made. But I don't know, because
the thing is, Gibson will press the panic button, because at the end of the day, he had to do it under Wilder, and I know he didn't want to do it under Warnock, but he had to, because it just didn't work.
Middlesbrough as well are, I don't know if it was yourself, Nathan, or it might have been Carl, but on that review show, he's literally said, and I kind of echoed it myself, because I said Middlesbrough are a victim of this. There's clubs that obsess over a football and identity or a football and style, and there's some clubs that bring in a manager who has an idea but doesn't know what to do, and then there's some clubs like Middlesbrough who will just spend without knowing what they want.
Yeah.
Middlesbrough are that type of club. They don't know what they want. Middlesbrough, for me, should be a team that have a compact style of play, that have a decent midfield partnership that can dictate and control the play, and a finisher who will actually know how to put the ball in the back of the net and be rigid in defence. Middlesbrough,
at the end of the day, they exposed Chuba Akpom as a really good player at that level.
Massively, yeah. I renown Middlesbrough with...
Of all people.
Yeah. That's goal number 161. Mental. But it's not over. The crazy thing is, if Inter Milan get to the Champions League final, they win it.
Yeah.
But if Barcelona get to it, who knows? That's the scary thing.
Do you know, I need that Barca PSG final.
Hansi Flick to dunk on them twice would be absolutely funny.
No, it would.
It would be funny. No idea what's going to happen though, but it's nice to see. My only thing, this is the part that scares me. Middlesbrough, for me, I've always known them as, even though I just don't like him as a person, but because I think he's a boring brat. But Steve McLaren had the right formula for Middlesbrough. And they went, well, we have to be different in so many ways. And I'm like, no, you had it right, and you just chose to be too risky and stupid.
Not too risky. They almost went too safe, and it cost them. McLaren goes, Southgate sees them fall off, and he still thinks, you know what, I'm going to keep Southgate on, and he's going to take us places. Championship. Then they've had Middlesbrough have had a high-profile list of managers the last 15 years. They've had Strachan down there. They've had Mowbray down there, haven't they? They've had
Karanka,
yeah, Carrick, Pulis, Warnock, Wilder. They've had a strong level of managers who have all come and not been able to take them up. So
I think it's just as Reece has said, it's just the constant chopping and changing
yeah,
every single season.
it doesn't seem to be a when I look at the transfers that they did last summer, yes, they signed some. Do you know what? I was going to say there doesn't seem to be a signal of intent, like a sign of intent with some of their signings. But last summer they had some crazy loan signings.
Yeah, they did.
So I don't know. That's what I mean. If you've got Morgan Whittaker, Ealing Jr., Ben Doak, Kelechi Iheanacho coming in, and you're only finishing 10th, then granted some of those were obviously January signings, but I think it doesn't really bode well. I can't really defend Carrick as much as I'd like to defend Carrick, but you know the reasons are there. I can't defend the indefensible. You know, quality of player team.
I was going to say I seen that, Doug. Really good save. Barca are all in the defence, like in terms of getting back into this game, like they're going mental. But here's the thing, and this is part of where I put a lot of blame on Michael Carrick. You look at the managers he's actually played under. He's played under a lot of good managers, and he's played against a lot of good managers as well. Surely you would actually try to have a mix of what you want in a team that you want to build or want to play as. Instead, it's almost like he's got the wrong lessons, or he's learnt the wrong lessons, maybe. Now he'll probably, this will never get to him, so he'll never have to challenge me on this. But you look at two prime examples of managers he's played for. He's played for Mourinho and he's played for Sir Alex Ferguson.
And Louis van Gaal.
Yeah, but when I look at it to the Championship, you can't put a Van Gaal lesson into the Championship, but you can put a Mourinho for solid defence, counter-attacking style, or you can put Sir Alex Ferguson as an all-round approach. You put them both together, and you've got near enough the right football team. But he hasn't done that, and I don't even know what he wants to do. And it doesn't work, and that's why I will never see a good manager in Michael Carrick. I'll never see it. I think people bought into his hype too quickly because of those.
It was the first season, wasn't it?
Yeah, people bought into him, and I said to you guys, but I said to you guys when we reviewed that championship season as well, and I'm pretty sure it's on the channel as well. I literally said I'm still not buying into him.
Yeah.
I still don't see anything special. Because when he gets tested, he's going to struggle. And he's been tested now. And he's failed. If Middlesbrough want to do something next season, they have to sack Michael Carrick. And I will not change my opinion on that.
Which is fair enough.
I'm just looking into something quickly. I'm just trying to see where they were in the table when they brought him in. Because they sacked Wilder, didn't they?
Yeah.
And even then, Wilder, I was really shocked when he got sacked as well. Because I thought that they were rebuilding, and they were just sort of going to stick with him for a bit just to see how it sort of beds out. But it just turned into a disaster.
Well, here's the thing. So, from what I'm reading here, so cast your minds back. Wilder finished 7th. They had the summer, and then
it's 2-2, lads.
Wow.
you know what? I'm really glad I didn't say anything.
Yeah. But this is genuinely incredible. See,
Yeah, well, I love Hansi Flick. I love what he's doing to this team.
the annoying thing, I like both. Both of them represent what I like about football. Like, the epitome of football is what I like about these two, and that's what annoys me, because they both manage these two cunt clubs. That's what they are to me.
Yeah, so Wilder, when he left, they were in the relegation zone. I think they had 2 wins from their first 11 games. And I believe it was, and he obviously, Carrick got them into the playoffs. Similar story to Lampard this season. Now, I'm not just using it as like a, let me just take all the credit away from Lampard, because I'm still impressed that he came in and did well.
Yeah.
But it happens. New manager comes in, you go on a run, and then you seize the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since, they haven't really capitalized.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's that's slapping Carrick in the face right now. I mean, if they get playoffs next year, good, but long time coming. Long time coming, realistically. But it's quite crazy that there's a constant theme of managers getting near the playoffs, not getting there, and then losing their job or continuously missing out.
There is
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Moving on to these. Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, that's all I've got to say. Let's just move on.
Happy days. Yeah, let's go through 9th, 8th, and 7th very, very quickly. West Brom lost Corberan to Valencia. That's why you didn't make it into playoffs, and you lost Mowbray lost the dressing room. Massive loss. Millwall, Neil Harris gone again. Alex Neil, as much as I don't really rate him as a manager, they're going to get playoffs next season if Millwall invest in him. Blackburn, biggest shock for me. At the end of the day, look at where I had him. I thought losing Schmodix, I just thought it was just going to be a complete disaster. John Eustace, really underrated him as a manager. He had a great start. Obviously, he goes to Derby because of all the ownership situation.
That says a lot for me. I think that's crazy that he was in playoffs as well when he left. So he was in 6th, I think. And he goes, you know what, Derby at the bottom of the league, I fancy going there instead, which is ridiculous. Goes there, keeps Derby up. Blackburn bottle the playoffs. It's a very Blackburn thing to happen under the Venkies. I can't lie. How they're still around, I don't know, because they are just running that club into the ground.
And the fact that even Ishmael comes in and still drags them kicking and screaming up there on a great run is just absolutely obscene. But God knows what's going to happen there next year. If it's a disaster, they'll be back in League One the way they're going. And then we move on to the playoffs. Question, lads, who's winning it?
Sunderland.
I want Sunderland to win it. I don't want Sheffield United to come up and Chris Wilder to just complain why his team is not good enough and how it's not his fault on anything that happens.
Because it's got some good players in it, but it's going to be horrifying next season, especially.
The momentum. Do you know what the momentum is with Coventry? You know, Sunderland started the season strongly and they were top at one point, and I thought it was so refreshing that there was someone else at the top. But after Christmas, it seems Sunderland just packed it in. They're like, we'll get playoffs or we'll get automatics. Doesn't really matter. And they almost just gave up for the rest of the season.
I think I might. Oh, gee. Wow. This isn't a goal, by the way. This is just a quote from an interview that's actually crazy. Different competition, but wait till you hear this. I hope Athletic reach the final. It'll be a great match, and from Argentina, I am not going to miss it. Ander Herrera.
Wow.
That man is still salty over his exit from United. Fucking hell.
How many years is that now?
I think that's a crazy. Actually, I think that's a crazy statement to make because I haven't really heard much from Herrera about his exit, and the only thing he talks about is obviously he's only ever spoken about United in high regard. But I think if
He
Bilbao
wanted the money. That's what I'm saying. Like, he wanted that. He wanted to say his worth of contract, but the fact he's come out and said that though.
Broken. He was one of the few people like actually performing to their wages or more. The club never exercised never exercised the new contract talks or anything for a whole year before he left. And obviously he went to PSG, but I think I don't know. Like, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest that he says that, just because of the fact that you're asking him to pick either a football club he loved playing for or a football club he basically grew up in.
Yeah.
You're part of that Bielsa side at Bilbao, so...
Yeah. This is arguably the greatest semi-final tie, home and away tie, I think you could see. I mean... Wait to see this. Can I just quickly show you for 2 seconds? Look at the stats on this game. I'm not even joking.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Look at that.
That's insane.
Genuinely incredible. And for possession difference, it's such a 50-50 game. Like, the Jan Sommer save, by the way, I can actually bring up. You guys will... This save is honestly incredible, and we won't get hanged for it. We're all right, but see if I can get it. Watch this save. This is Eric Garcia. Watch this.
Oh my god!
Unreal save, man. Unreal save. And then obviously literally 5 minutes later, obviously Dani Olmo equalises, but like, it's mental.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. 2 goals in 6 minutes for Barcelona, and obviously Inter scored 2 in 20 for... That's the thing, like, both teams are just a different level of football, like. We're being treated to good European football, lads.
Honestly, bring on the final. It's going to be...
It better not be
That's going to be ridiculous. With the way things are going, I can't see it at all.
Yeah.
As long as Arsenal don't get there, we'll be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, aside from that, yeah, for me, I hope it's just Sunderland or Cov that go up. But moving on to the biggest elephant in the room, we'll bring the top 2 into this now.
Barcelona have now got a penalty.
Oh my god.
We're in for another fucking 3-3 at this rate.
Nah, this is just insane. What a match.
Oh.
It's a 3-3.
Is that a pen? I think it's outside the box.
God, what is going on?
I think the contact that brings Yamal down is outside the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doug said it as well.
I'd be surprised if this isn't...
Well, it has gone to VAR though, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if it's given as a penalty.
Yep.
Definitely.
This is proper football. It's mad that first of all, it's these 2 bastard clubs, but secondly, it's the longest. Not longest, sorry. It's the best 3 at the back manager versus arguably the best 4 at the back manager for club football. And somehow they manage 2 clubs that I hate. I feel like I've been victimised.
Oh dear. Yeah, no penalty. There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously going back, including the top 2 in this now, bringing obviously Leeds and Burnley, the 200 pointers. Next season, out of whoever goes up out of the teams in the playoffs and obviously Leeds and Burnley.
Yeah.
What do each team need to do to stay up next season?
Well, Sack Farker for
Good
starters.
start.
I fuck him off.
Do you know what? The only thing Farker has going for him to stay
No.
in the job
Nothing.
is the fact that when Delia went up with him, Delia didn't give him any money.
Sorry,
I stand by the
bad-
choice of
bad.
words. The choice of words is relevant. It's on tact. You can't argue with me on that.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It's just that Delia Smith obviously has a certain attraction to him, so my mind automatically went there.
No, exactly. That's why I said it. That is exactly why I said it.
Oh god.
It's criminally bad though, but she has a strange attraction to Daniel Farka, and I don't see it. I generally don't see it.
Yeah, I think Norwich spent poorly both times they came up. First time
I think
they
the
came up,
second one was there was a lot more spending than the first one in particular. Like the first one, there was nothing. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they brought a few players in the first time, and then the second time they brought in more players.
Yeah.
Which obviously didn't amount to anything because they were still shit. But I think Leeds and the Red Bull group will have the ambition to spend big money.
Yeah.
I'm kind of intrigued with the way that Fark plays to see if they spend big money and then he somehow longs it out. But to be honest with you, I think Leeds and the Red Bull group have the ambition where they will be smart enough to know that if they don't buy into him, they will sack him now.
Oh,
They won't care about sentimentality in that regard.
I think Inter Milan might make a big mistake here, and I think you guys might agree. Inter Milan have just taken off Lautaro Martinez and Jan Bisek for Mehdi Taremi and Matteo Darmian.
Wow.
Barcelona might have this now.
Yeah, Darmian. I don't think Darmian can keep up with the likes of Olmo, Rafinha, and who if they bring any players off the bench. Even though Darmian's actually been reliable for Inter Milan, but Taremi has been absolutely rubbish for Inter all season.
Yeah,
I think
Arnautovic has been way more effective.
Yeah, I would have brought on an Arnautovic to be honest beside Thuram. I'm surprised I'm surprised he's keeping Thuram on because Thuram hasn't been fit. Too busy hitting people, but he shouldn't be. Realistically, Lautaro Martinez should have stayed in the field. He's got much more engine in the tank. It's strange.
Well said.
I think back on this topic, I think both clubs need to obviously spend this summer. I think I'm really intrigued to see how both managers approach, obviously moving past recruitment, but approach what they do in the season, because obviously Farker got let down both occasions. Even Parker the same way. They go up, they play their way, it doesn't work, abandon what they want, and they either lose their job or they get relegated. Or in Parker's case, both.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think will Burnley try and long out 1-0s? They'll just be a new Sean Dyche. Then what was the point in getting rid of Sean Dyche in the first place if you're just going to go back and go full cycle? Leeds, I keep saying that Farke will be gone by Christmas. I do want to see what team lines up at the start of the season. But I think that I don't know. I think this could be another year where all the team. In fact, to be honest with you, I've actually got more faith in Burnley and Leeds staying up this season than Leicester and Southampton.
Oh, massively. Southampton.
I think
they were finished before they even started.
It sounds crazy to say that, but I just think the way those two teams have played this season, I think they can shithouse more points to an extent.
Yep.
And if they, because those two sides, too good for the Championship, really too good. Leicester changed manager at the start of last season because Maresca left. Southampton, or Martin rather, didn't tweak tactically, didn't adapt to what he had for the Premier League. You can adapt without abandoning your principles. Thomas Frank is the literal precedent for that in terms of promotion. Brentford signing players, they're treading water in the Premier League, but they're doing well. They're losing players. They've got big players stepping up. but the manager is so good tactically where he's played a variety of formations since he's been up, depending on the game, depending on how he prepares for certain teams and that. And
Agreed.
I think like it was a weird one. I think Leicester panicked with Steve Cooper in terms of sacking him.
To be fair, once the Nottingham Forest fans, their volume picked up, it was over for him anyway.
Yeah.
Inter Milan are struggling now, boys. They are getting their possession, like they're bad with possession, and Barcelona are passing the ball. Barcelona have entered a new gear. Like they've went up a gear. Inter Milan have went down a gear. Like they're really in trouble. I was going to say I've got a praise and a critique. The praise is Gerard Martin. 2 assists tonight from left back as well for Barcelona. The critique essentially is about essentially because it's Leeds. The critique is them getting promoted. For me, if Leeds have got no excuse to do what they have to do. They have to spend minimum 60, 75 million to stay up.
Easily.
They have to. Barcelona are now making the most important change of the game. Araujo's coming on for Martinez.
Yeah. And do you know what the crazy thing is? That's their first change of the game. Inter have already made 3 changes.
Yep, and it's 77 minutes in.
Barca still have more they can bring on.
The likes of Gavi will come on soon. I think he'll probably replace Olmo.
Yeah.
Like Barcelona are going to, if it goes to extra time, but they don't make any changes, Barcelona will have them.
Oh
Bear
my
in mind,
God, what a save.
Yep, great save. Lewandowski, Fermin, Lopez, I'm expecting them to come on as well. Like extra time, there's no way Inter Milan hold on. Not unless they shore up shop. But in terms of Leeds though, if Leeds really want to buy into Farka for the Premier League and they want to actually give him a try in the Premier League, 60 to 75 million from Red Bull in their 49ers, they have to spend that.
They will spend it. They will 100% spend
it. They have to.
They have the room to do it, and they got
Leeds could risk PSR, to be honest with you.
I think
they could to do what Forest did.
I think it's
maybe
crazy.
I think Leeds it was high player turnover, like loads coming in. I don't think they'll do that.
Yeah.
But I think they'll buy some big players.
They'll do. I think they'll sign 4 or 5 players, and then they'll really reimburse that team, and then Burnley will spend 30 to 45 million and say we're okay, and then the arrogance will catch them off guard. Like it's the reality will kick in for them.
I think Leeds, to an extent, I think they'll do similar to what they did when they first came up last time. Actually, in terms of what Bielsa wanted, he wanted to buy like a few £20 million players, like the likes of Martinez. Obviously, brought in Rodrigo, Rafinha, but players of that ilk, really good quality players who will easily make it in the Premier League, whether they're already there or they're coming into it.
And they also run for you as well.
But they're buying like high quality players for £30 million. You know, that kind of thing. I think those are the kind of transfers I think we'll be seeing from Leeds.
Yeah.
Which could still happen, but what I'm interested in is the manager situation the most. I don't know if Foxy's out the season.
I think the thing about Leeds that really says it all, it annoys me they've got Ramazani. Like that really annoys me. They've got Ramazani, but when you look at the team as a whole, and I'm thinking, where do Leeds have to spend if they really want to stay in the league?
In goal, 100%.
Yeah, that's the biggest one.
Goalkeeper, 100%.
I think the defense mostly. I think if they left back, potentially right back.
If they spend 40, 50 million on their defence and then they spend, say, 25 million on a decent striker, they might be okay. Or maybe 25 million in the midfielder.
A chance, though. I think you get rid of Bamford, 100%. Yeah. I think they'll give Joel Pirro a chance. But, I mean, for all we know, they might sign Josh Sargent as a backup.
Melier's leaving according to Doug saying from Carl.
He's a fraud. He's liquid.
Yeah. I seen Man Utd fans saying sign him.
Carl Darlow was a better goalkeeper this season than Meslier. And Carl Darlow was known to be a better goalkeeper when Leeds went down in the first place and they signed him.
Yeah. Here's a mad stat for you boys. Barcelona have had 26 crosses, Inter have had 5.
Oh my god.
And this is a team,
Inspiration.
and both teams are renowned for their crossing. Incredible. But here's the thing that interests me a lot. I actually don't know who Leeds actually bring in as a goalkeeper to suit their style. Because I actually think they should do... There is one goalkeeper I actually think they should try, because I think they have to make a conscious decision.
Mm-hmm.
I think Leeds should go after Jordan Pickford.
What about Ramsdale? Considering that Southampton have gone down now.
I mean, he is wank, and Leeds are wank, so it's double the wank.
I think, no, to be honest with you, I think they're better.
Oh.
Maybe Hermansen from Leicester.
Inter Milan have just taken off Hakan Çalhanoğlu
Wow.
for Piotr Zielinski. Yeah, I'm saying this now. Inzaghi's the best free at the back manager in the world, but he's literally just cost his team the Champions League final. You're taking off your best holding player. Barcelona are gonna win this now. It's over. It doesn't matter. This is done.
Yep.
If they took off someone else like Barella, who hasn't had a good season, then absolutely I'd understand. But if you're taking off Çalhanoğlu, you're asking for trouble.
100%.
Fucking morons. But it might push their It might push their style up now, because Mkhitaryan could essentially push forward into a 10 role now. If you bring on Zielinski and you just play Barella, Zielinski as a midfield too, it might work. But they're in full control. Barcelona are not letting up at all. I'll be surprised.
Bro, this is gonna be magic. This final way it's going.
Yeah, Barcelona have now had nearly 71% possession.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they're absolutely tearing. And it's like I said, they've went up a gear, which is for a Hansi Flick team, it's rare, because his style of play it demands so much out of you. Like, he is a German Bielsa basically. He likes the mixture of direct passing football, high press with possession style playing the ball, but his teams play such a high line that it demands a lot of energy out of you, that it tires you out. His rotation policy's been good, but the fact that he's only made one sub says it all. But that says a lot.
Yeah, that's not great in game management, is it, to be fair?
In terms of predictions, Doug, you've done well according to Nathan. You've won this whole fucking thing.
Yeah, you have. There's yours, mate. I mean, top 2 perfect. Literally only 2 bad predictions were Luton, Blackburn, and potentially Cardiff. Aside from that,
Yeah.
rest of it spot on.
And that's Danny Olmo off. Said I knew it was coming. Fermin Lopez is on. I like him. He's such a good player. But this is it for Inter Milan. Bye, Doug. You won the predictions by a landslide.
Yeah, look at that. 119 to 130, 49.
No, not quite landslide. Only 11 points in it between me and Doug. That's a whole Sheffield United and whoever Nathan had bottom. Plymouth, I think.
Yeah, I had Plymouth bottom.
I hate the fact that we've done this golf style. If we didn't do it golf style, I would have won.
Oh, with all the 1s and 2s.
Ah.
Yeah, you would have, to be fair, actually, Bruce.
And I barely watched this league, and I've actually done well in terms of getting them near or thereabouts. It's just funny.
Just imagine if Luton actually finished top.
I would have won.
Reece. Yeah, you
I would have won the predictions. I would have won it.
Oh my god.
It's
That would have
insane.
been insane.
Anyway, moving swiftly on to our last topic. This was Reese's idea, so we were discussing it backstage beforehand, and it mainly...
Doug, if you want to join us for this, it
Yeah.
might actually be appropriate, because you actually represent the opposite side of this topic.
So it reflects into Trent Alexander-Arnold, and obviously, I'm going to give it to you, obviously, Reece, to explain it further, but just the media attention and just the sort of... I wouldn't say procedure, but sort
Yeah.
of what happens when a club legend obviously leaves.
Yeah. So we've all got stake in the game, realistically, when it comes to this. We've all seen at some point our favourite players leave our football clubs, and how we react is totally different. Now, obviously, I'm a lot older than you two, so my reaction, obviously, when it happened to me was a whole lot different, but
Yeah.
obviously, I was 6 years old when my favourite player left Man United. So obviously for me it was an absolute shock, breakdown, but there wasn't really much of a social media in 2003, so I can't really express a lot of internet dissatisfaction, but I was still like angry at the situation that we just let him go. Then we won nothing for practically relevant for 2 years because the FA Cup was there, and we won the League Cup obviously in 2006. But when you look at our team in general, we really didn't do anything, and we didn't actually progress. And it felt like we were going backwards for the sake of just getting rid of somebody because the manager was worried about someone's popularity. But when I look at the Trent situation, and I've said it all along, that the guy's wank when it comes to being a defender. Like, he's genuinely awful at defending, but his attacking output is second to none. I will hold my arm and say, in terms of an attacking player, really well done. But as a defender, he can't do it for toffee. But I just don't see how people can get so aggressively wound up over the situation that someone is leaving their football club. And the way that I think Liverpool fans, most on social media, have handled this is very hypocritical, very negative, very abusive. And again, they'll try and spin the narrative by saying, but Zubimendi, he would have cost a transfer fee. No, you can't shift the goalpost just because Zubimendi would have cost a transfer fee. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if Trent was sold. It's still the same sort of circumstance. You cannot turn around after someone who's won every available trophy that he could possibly win at the highest level to then wish injuries upon him, wish death threats, threaten his family.
Goal.
Yep, that's it.
Wow.
Rafinha.
Ballon d'Or Rafinha, by the way.
Yeah, it's game over.
Rafinha Dior. I'm genuinely. He's incredible, and he's actually spoiled my moment. But what I'm saying is, like, the narratives always spin, and they change with certain fans. And to be fair, I understand it, right? I'm not going to say any negative in the sense of it. I absolutely understand it. But I hate the fact that, oh, the player's leaving, so let's just abuse. And I just don't get it. And I don't like the fact that the media are now spinning this in their own way. Like, it makes me sick, especially someone like Jamie Carragher. Like, they'll use the "you'll never walk alone" mantra, and then when someone leaves, it's instant. Oh, this no longer applies to you anymore. And I've seen United fans do this to certain players as well. Like, I'm not going to say we're not angels in the circumstance. We absolutely are shocking, you know. But I just cannot, for the life of me, understand this spin, and it makes me sick, you know.
I completely agree. But the main one that I was going on to backstage, and my thought of it doesn't exactly highlight the player, etc. It's just sort of the handling by the clubs. So it is a bit of a nuanced opinion. However, to prevent these situations from happening, the clubs need to, like, in this case, let's say, for example, Trent Alexander-Arnold, wait, at the end of the day, you knew he was leaving. If you want to get some money out of him, do what Tottenham at the end of the day had to do with Harry Kane. You need to cash in on him before he runs his contract down. This is the number one mistake of wasting money, having a player who you're 20% certain is going to leave, at the end of their contract, or say, "Oh, I'm going to explore options at the end of my contract." If they tell you that, and they're one of your most important players, don't let them see the contract out. Sell them straight away and cash in. Because at the end of the day, it's better getting for me, Trent would at least 80 million. Especially if you transition into midfield. Get 80 million for Trent off Real Madrid instead of getting a free transfer. You know which one's better and getting an extra year out of him. Because at the end of the day, you can then invest and look to the future. Players running down contracts are just the worst thing in the world, and at the end of the day, it can just be all with a proper footballing structure at the top. It can be avoided. Get rid of one, and then ease and generate a new one coming forwards.
Exactly.
That's my thought on it, anyway. But like the abuse that Trent's getting, considering what he's done for the club: Champions League, Super Cup, 2 Premier Leagues, FA Cup, Carabao Cups, Club World Cup, the lot. He's won everything there. He's a club legend. He should be respected, not absolutely vilified for leaving at the end of his contract. It's just ridiculous. Have some respect.
In fairness to Trent, he's I don't even know what the word is, but he's done his contract. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's seen out his contract. He's been committed to his contract. You know, he's been a shit defender all of the years of his contract, like he should have been doing.
Consistently
you have
as
to
well.
commend him for that. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He's been putting the consistency of his contract. We all knew he was garbage at defending. The whole reason he went to right back was because he was in midfield and there was a crossroads moment in his career.
Yep.
But I think Liverpool have shot themselves in the foot here for the last 2 or 3 years. Michael Edwards leaves years ago. They give Klopp the power in terms of transfers. Then 2 years ago, we see that we see this little array of transfers where transfers aren't working out. A sporting director comes in for the summer. They get rejected by every holding midfielder in Europe, and Chelsea signs them. You've got 2 players who are in the last 2 years of their contract. 2 key players. If you want to look at them in terms of like how the Americans will look at them, you've got 3 franchise players there who need new contracts. Then 6 months later, Klopp leaves. Those players aren't going to sign a contract until they see who the new manager is, because they need to see the new project. Then you come to the summer, Michael Edwards is back in town. Okay, this looks good for Liverpool potentially. They go a whole summer without really signing anyone, which is part of the reason why I predicted them to finish 7th. Partly. The other part was shits and gigs. But I'm going to pause for a minute because I just received a message because Inter have scored.
Yeah.
We have another 3-3.
Told you.
Dang.
I told you we would get another 3-3. I'm just going to quote my own tweet right now and just say Mr. Right. Fuck it, I'm just going to do it. Where's my tweet? Hold on. Oh yeah, there we go. 25 minutes ago. I'm just going to say it, Mr. Right. Just to piss people off. That's how I do things. I'm in the dark.
A long ball up top and headed on. Fucking hell, Sam Allardyce would be proud of that.
The Italians do Route 1 better than Sam Allardyce.
The Italians do
everything better than English people.
Italians are the kings of pragmatism.
But they do pragmatism for everything. Trust me, and I'm not disclosing anything further because that'll ruin my Italian heritage.
But yeah, back on my Trent thing. So back onto the sporting director. Then Michael Edwards comes in. Arne Slot comes in. Nobody knows what's going to happen this season with Liverpool.
Finishing 7th according to you.
Yes, I did already mention that, Reece, but thank you for bringing it back up.
I have to for Doug. I have to. It's the honour code. Like I have to do it for Doug because Doug's not here.
Doug didn't say it himself because he's given me enough shit all over Twitter about it. Valid. I'll give him that. It was.
I have to do it. He's not here, so I have to do it on his behalf.
No worries. I appreciate it.
It was still funny. It's still funny though, because you were technically right. They were finishing at least 7th.
The point is, then, moving on, obviously no one expected Liverpool to be in a title race. I thought, Klopp being back, having that Klopp factor last season, pushing them as far as he did in the title race and everything, I didn't think they'd be able to replicate that. But then I forgot that the data was actually in support of Arne Slot, but I didn't in terms of the style of play. But anyway, based on all these factors, you've gone into the final year of 3 players' contracts, and I think you've been lucky that your captain stayed, your most influential player stayed, when your best forward stayed because no Saudi interest.
Yep.
He
Which
was
is
a
rare as
shoo-in
well.
for a Saudi move. I thought he was going to go this summer just gone. I thought he was going to go this summer before. He hasn't gone. No one snapped him up on a free transfer. So he's still going to be celebrating Christmas in Liverpool for at least another couple of years. I would be impressed if Liverpool agreed the contract, but then gave him like a gentleman's agreement of if Saudi come in with £100 or so million offer, we'll take it. I think that would be they have to do that. But then
there's something that you guys will like from the chat directly.
probably not going to, but we'll see.
No, yous will.
Not wrong.
Football, yeah, thanks. But yeah, I think Liverpool shot a mess at board level has caused this. Obviously, they couldn't account for Klopp leaving, but it's not a coincidence for me that Klopp leaves as John Henry is thinking of bringing Michael Edwards back. It's no coincidence that Klopp signings don't go so well after Michael Edwards leaves. I think I've said before that multiple times that Trent leaving is probably the best situation, because I think he's the easiest to replace. I thought Salah could be replaced by Mbeumo. I think that there's everything about that potential move scares me, because I think it's that kind of move. I think there aren't many centre backs in the world that have the quality or even the impact that Van Dijk has had. And then regardless of this stupid, like, I'm a stand 5 feet away and aura defend you if I can, this is why you can't dribble past me. Whatever you want to discuss about his method of defending. I think obviously the abuse has been unnecessary. Like, I knew people were going to start burning shirts. They did it for Torres, so of course they were going to do it for anyone, because what Liverpool fans are like to an extent. They'd like to invent things, so they've invented like hooliganism towards their own players.
Wow,
they've literally been burning T-shirts, like they're showing that they've invented this new fad of we're going to burn shirts of players that we are going to see go.
We're just going to cause anarchy.
I mean, they think I can't wait for them. If they get to a Real Madrid game and Liverpool versus Real Madrid in the Champions League and Trent plays and they start throwing things at them, and then all you see is Barcelona fans going, "We did it first with Figo." That'll be perfect. I need to see this. I need to see Liverpool versus Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. They're throwing things at them, and then you just see Real Madrid fans on Twitter going, "We did it first with Figo." Hope this helps.
I think it's just unnecessary. There is talk about obviously Real Madrid trying to get Trent for the Club World Cup. I think Liverpool are doing the right thing by basically saying, like, pay us compensation and we'll let you have him, because the Club World Cup is still when he's contracted to us. Why should we let him come and play for you when he's still contracted to us? Pay compensation to let him out of his contract early. I think fair play to Liverpool. That's exactly what they should be doing, and milk every single penny they can out of Real Madrid, because Real Madrid tap players up to 1 year, 2 years in advance to get them on a free transfer and give them big bonuses, big signing on fees, big wages. And now
And in a
Liverpool are
way, you
basically
could
going
kind of say that this is why it's stalled so much. Liverpool thought that we could probably get this over the line with Trent. At the end of the day, Scouse
I think
lad,
Liverpool were
especially
naive to
a
think that.
story. Yeah, very naive.
I think Liverpool were naive to go into this season, know about the interest. The interest has been going for over a year now, minimum, and that's to public knowledge. And they've gone, we might be able to convince him to stay. Chelsea just won the Champions League, had a similar issue with Rudiger, with Christensen, with their contracts. And they were also naive enough to think, oh, we can convince them. No, Barcelona, Real Madrid, they have a crazy pull. There was no way that these players weren't going to sign for these clubs.
Yeah.
So, but one thing, the thing on the replacing Trent, many times this season Slot has taken Trent off to see out games. Connor Bradley being the right back equivalent of John Obi Mikel. But I think in terms of his output, I think you can replace in the aggregate. Szoboszlai needs to do more in attacking midfield. I think maybe the other forwards need to do more. I think if they sign a good left back like Kirkes, he will offer more. So, and you constrict the one weakness obviously was Trent's defensive incapabilities. But it gives you, now you've got the opportunity to adequately replace that, because you can have fullbacks who are good at going forward but also solid defensively. It's not a case of you're either a I don't know, I'm just trying to think like a spectrum where you're either a right back who is really good defensively but can't go forward, or you're an attacking fullback who can't defend for shit. So I couldn't think of two examples for names. For the ones going forward, I heard Serge Aurier and Emerson, but I just couldn't think of one off the top of my head.
To be fair, they want Kirkish.
Yeah, but there's no, because what I'm saying is that my point is that Kirkes is good defensively, but he's also good going forward. I'm just saying that on the spectrum, you've obviously got, on the one end, you've got like Serge Aurier, for example, who was so good going forward. But if you ask him to defend, then good luck with that. And I just couldn't think of an example for someone who can't go forward for shit, but was really good defensively. And I didn't want to say the obvious pick of Wan-Bissaka because his defensive awareness at the back post on multiple occasions was an Achilles heel for United's defence. So I didn't really want to use him as an example. But you see what I'm trying to say, that you can have, there are so many fullbacks you can have too, especially if your system is competent enough. You can definitely have fullbacks who are quite well-rounded, where they're good going forward and they're good defensively as well. So, like Theo Hernandez is a prime example of that. Very good going forward. Theo Hernandez is what people think Luke Shaw is.
He's turned shit around in terms of his position. Like, he's put him as a left wing back, or a wide left midfielder, or whatever you want to fucking call it. It works for him. You put him in a left back role and expect him to defend, you're asking for trouble. He's an incredible attacker. Defensively, not even close.
Yeah, exactly.
But the point I'm trying to make is that you can
I get what you're saying, though. Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make overall, and I think that you can actually, Liverpool are in a position now where they don't need to worry about looking at a weakness for one of their best players. They're not in that position now. The weaknesses in the team are the weak links. It's not like we've got a quality player here, but he also is a weak link. They don't have that now with Trent going. Robertson, okay, great servant, obviously first, but they need someone in there to compete, because the guy has gone competition free for years, and you can see this season the signs that he's not what he used to be. They need another centre back to have next to Van Dijk, someone who's going to start consistently. I think they're going to strengthen a right back. McAllister and Gravenberch, excellent. It's ahead of them. That's what I think they need to look into. And then in the forward line, there's been a lot of switching around especially between Gakpo and Diaz in the two of the front three positions. Chiesa's barely played this season. Nunes is Nunes, so obviously he doesn't seem to be wanted. But yeah, that's, I think, at the top and bottom of it is, I think Liverpool fans have been ridiculous. I think Liverpool should have seen this coming. But the mess at board level has really allowed this to happen. Can you imagine if all three players didn't sign? Can you imagine? So it is their fault. They've gotten away with it. They can't afford to be this naive in the future, especially when it's one of the bigger clubs like Real Madrid, Barcelona, the destinations of football. Everyone will see Barcelona, Real Madrid that way. Even as fucked financially Barcelona are. If Barcelona went in for, let's pretend for a minute Barcelona didn't have financial constraints and Lamine Yamal still had a few years before he was going to see the first team football. If Barcelona matched or exceeded Liverpool's contract offer for Salah, you telling me Salah wouldn't have gone to Barcelona?
I think he would have went to Real Madrid. I still think he would have went to Real Madrid.
I'm just saying from a perspective of Real Madrid didn't offer anything. Like Real Madrid aren't involved in this scenario, but I see what you're saying. So I think
the Barcelona option, though, me personally, I think the Barcelona one would have been Diaz, and it's quite funny, because there was a lot of Liverpool fans, and I said it to Doug. There was a lot of Liverpool fans over the summer saying, "Oh, sell Diaz. Diaz has to go. He's the weak link." And I'm like, just wait. All these idiots, just wait. And then Diaz has been one of their best players all season, consistently proving it either on the left or through the middle. And they've all started deleted their tweets, and they're like, "Oh, we got to keep Diaz." And I'm like, "Yous are absolute weirdos, man."
I think what FSG and Michael Edwards need to do is, because Michael Edwards built this Liverpool team off the back of 30-40 million pound signings, with the odd 70 roughly million pound signing. Obviously there was Alisson, there was Van Dijk, then there was Fabinho, and then before that there wasn't a lot of high number signings for their original title winning team. I'm saying, obviously,
yes.
Afterwards they spent big money on more players, but I think what they need to do is they need to look away from being so cheap, and they need to understand that the market now, they paid 40 million for Jota doing really well at Wolves for 2 years. For that kind of player, because since Jota's been in, his goal output went to another level. And where I'm going with this is they need to understand that you're not going to get that kind of player for 40. It's now 60, borderline 70, depending on the club, depending on a release clause, depending on a contract situation. So they really need to, because they cannot afford another summer like last one, where they get rejected by even the summer before, they get rejected by everyone, and they just go, it's 10-2 on the dance floor. Fucking anyone will do. They already pushed back the midfield rebuild long enough as it is, when they wanted to say, okay, we won't sign anyone this summer. We'll wait for Bellingham. Bellingham didn't come, and they needed to sign 3 midfielders, and they got rejected by so many midfielders, and they still needed to sign more. So they've backlogged enough in signing profiles and players. So Liverpool need a good summer, otherwise they can easily fall away. And I know the last time I said something like this, they went on to win the league, but you can kind of see where I'm coming from with this, because it's this kind of, to operate 100% is incredible this season, but you can't sit there and expect Liverpool to operate at this kind of level consistently next season. There will be banana skin games next season, I think, for them.
Yeah, you're spot on.
And especially with with the likes of Leeds coming up as well, it's going to be a tight league next season, no matter which way you look at it, unless someone goes on a ridiculous spending spree. And even then, with the likes of potentially Man United coming back,
no, we won't.
Not fully up the league, but a little bit potentially. Tottenham, and You really think that you'll be in a relegation battle next season? Seventh.
No. That's a scoreline.
Oh my god.
Inter Milan have just scored.
This is just insane.
This is the greatest game of football. I don't give a fuck, and I hate it's these two bastards.
The only reason I hate these two bastards is because if I had to pick a team from Serie A and La Liga, it would be AC Milan or Real Madrid. But if I wanted to buy retros, like retro 2000s, like stuff, like football shirts and sweatshirts, it would be these two teams because of how good their Nike stuff was in the 2000s. That's my only conflict. What I'm seeing here is a great game of football, and the game is healing because we're seeing two teams that play differently, but they're so good at what they do.
It's genuinely just
Good to watch.
Oh
When
my
people-
God, what a goal fest though.
when people say, "Oh, the best football is fucking Pep Guardiola," and I'm like, "Stop sucking his dick and watch real football." Absolute delusion. But the best thing about it as well, this game proves one thing that people need to bloody wake up and realise. See, when
Yeah.
people call Serie A boring, what are you basing it on? Serie A's had the best season all the way through.
Lukaku's
The
about to win another league title.
You say that.
To be fair, at this rate, maybe not. Who knows? But Syria is an enigma, if I've ever seen one, because you get people saying it's really about players. Like, you're either, if you can't make it in another league, but it's a league is different, and people move the goalposts for Syria a lot. On the one hand, you get Lukaku going there and scoring goals for fun, and then just depending on different arguments, the goalposts get moved. And I think what is great though is the fact that every year it's not like the same two, three teams every year. I think with Syria, that's what I will give it. It's the fact that every year I'm looking at 6 or 7 teams that could finish in the top 4.
Yeah.
That's what makes it more competitive than any other bloody league. But people are like,
I think,
"Oh, it's not good."
I just wish it
Like,
had more money. I just wish Syria had more money.
yeah, it's just insane.
It is. But I think aside from that, we're going to smash out the end of this Inter versus Barca game. Absolutely insane. Do you have any point and comments, guys?
Yes, Mark Goldbridge is an idiot for suggesting what he said about Hansi Flick.
Here.
Because
Yeah.
Hansi Flick, bear this in mind, Hansi Flick has gone into a mess of Barcelona, who, bear in mind, only a year prior had won the league, then had seen a car crash at Stadium with Xavi, and he's coming in. He's got a team that's only got really one signing in Olmo. The other 2 signings were a backup from Girona and bringing
Chesney.
out of retirement.
And it's been a stroke of genius.
Yes, and he's doing it with La Masia products coming into the team quite regularly. He's playing loads of them.
Exactly.
Like, if this guy was doing it, if you put Man United on all the Barcelona stuff right now, so Man United shirts, everything, people would love Hansi Flick at Man United because they'd be like, he's bringing through La Carrington. This is the United way. He's playing good attacking football. This is the United way. And yet I've got Herberts who support Nottingham Forest trying to tell me what Man United shouldn't do.
I'm actually just going to put a nice little tweet out. I already tweeted out that apparently Hansi Flick isn't good enough for Bayern Munich because they reject him. But I'm going to put up a very specific tweet, and I hate the fact I'm doing it from my PC because my PC for some reason keeps sending it to verified accounts. I don't care about the verified blue type wankers. I'm going to put a very specific tweet out right now, and I just want to see if anyone takes notice.
Sorry. I've just seen what my mate Kane has put into a group chat me and Reece are in, and I've just seen the funniest two tweets next to each other. One being Reece's tweet saying this is perfect game of football, and to make it even worse, it's into Barca. And then the next one, it's Brentford versus Barca at the G-Tech. Low-key, they would create a scoreline never seen before in football.
That's not my tweet, that's for sure. That one isn't. Let's see.
I just looked at they're next to each other on someone's feed. But yeah, honestly, this fan base is full of herberts. If the Wi-Fi hasn't cut out.
Nah, you're not wrong. Bruce, any final comments, bud, with that tweet?
Oh, nearly done.
Nice.
I think that might be. This might be it.
So look.
Not tweeted yet. Oh, just about to. I just need I just need this. I need to add one little thing to it. Yeah, I think that is the appropriate GIF. Yeah, there you go.
Right, let's read this.
Has he produced an absolute masterpiece then?
I have, with all character limit as well.
Nah, you have just cooked there, bud.
Great, I open up Twitter and I cannot find Reece anywhere. Fantastic. There we go.
With the perfect GIF choice, I might add.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously underneath, I'm just going to put underneath, I'm not asking for a managerial sacking before anyone moans.
Yeah. Because we know how negative you are, Reece.
Yeah.
Serial manager outer.
Gives us no time.
There, that saved it for me. That saved it. In brackets. Correctly grammatical as well. But closing comments from me, we've just witnessed the greatest European tie of all time. Great show. Predictions are fun when you don't watch a league campaign anyway. We've had fun discussing football at its best. This is how it should be. But I think the reality is that come next season, you're going to see more. And also, football fans, if a player leaves your club, even if you don't like them, just wish them well. Like, I criticise Paul Pogba a lot at Man United. I criticise Martial. I criticise Rashford. I criticise
Scott
Garnacho. criticise Scott McTominay 100%. I criticise fucking Chris Smalling now and again. I criticise Phil Jones because he steals a wage. I criticise Luke Shaw because he's more injured than he's had good matches. Like, end of the day, I criticise Ronaldo in his second spell, but end of the day, I'm not going to say when they leave, oh, fuck off, tear your ACLs and all that shit, or die on the spot. No, I'm going to say, you know what, even though there's times where I generally did not like seeing you play for my club, I wish you well. Fun fact, when Rashford left to go to Aston Villa, and it's on my Twitter, you can find it, I did quote, you know what, best of luck at Villa. Or something like, I said something along those lines, well, best of luck, it makes sense for him to go away and refresh. I didn't wish him to break out to tear his ACL. I didn't wish death upon him. Reality, end of the day, have some decorum, have some respect, even if you don't like the footballer or if they don't do enough for you at times. Things matter.
Yeah.
It's called life. And also subscribe to this fucking channel. What he's playing at.
Oh yeah, remember, like, comment, subscribe, guys, so I can support the channel. That'd be appreciated. Likes on Spotify, you all know the drill. But aside from that, we've enjoyed it. We'll see you all very soon. Have a great week. Enjoy this absolute masterpiece of a Champions League leg. We've got PSG versus Arsenal tomorrow. So is that going to come anywhere close? Absolutely not, but we're going to enjoy it anyway.
Tomorrow's going to be horrible. So pack a lunch and a late dinner. And if you need a sleep, David Raya will be in goal.
Hell yeah. Enjoy it, lads. Have a good one.
Live on YouTube. And listen back on Spotify. This is the World of Football podcast.